Today I'd like to do something a little less formal with Turtles All the Way Down. And what I'd like to do is I just like to get your reactions to the book. I just want to know what you're thinking in general about the book. And so basically what we're going to do today is a personal reactions assignment. So the directions here say, let's take a breather from doing the boring stuff. Okay, like having to analyze characters and analyze themes and la la la. And let's just chat about the book. All right? So obviously we can't all be in the same room and talk about what we think about it. So I've created this organizer so that we can share our thoughts. It says, answer the following questions about the book, then turn in your answers. Everyone will be able to access this document, so please be respectful of other people's answers. So when we are being respectful of others, one is we're not messing with their answer. We're not deleting their answers. We're not copying and pasting their answers and putting them in our own answers, which some of you, quite frankly, have done more than once. That's called academic dishonesty. It's called cheating. It's called plagiarism. Okay? Please don't mess with anyone else's answers, but also please make sure that you are exercising empathy when you do respond to other people's answers, and that you are thinking in terms of how would the other person feel about my response to them. In other words, be kind, okay? Be real, but be kind, all right? So, one of the columns here is going to ask you to respond to one of our quarterly essential questions. Keep bringing those up at least once a week, asking you to think about those. So what I did was in this blue section here, I wrote all 5 of the essential questions for the quarter, so you can choose one of them, all right? So I have created this document here, this chart, and in the first column, I would like you to write your name. So like here I wrote Ms. Todd, because that's my name. So right here, like Anaya, when she's responding, she'll write Anaya Key. And when Brooklyn is responding, she'll write Brooklyn. And when Harold is responding, he'll write Harold, and etc. Okay? So I want you to respond to these 3 things. 1, what do you like about this book so far, and why? Please tell me specifically what you like about the book, not just, it's cool. Okay? I want to know specifically what you like, and tell me why you like it. If you were to change anything about this book, what would it be? So this is kind of like, what don't you like? And how would you change it, specifically to make it more likable? 3, choose one of the essential questions for the quarter. They're up here. And answer one of them here. And then in the last column, and if you're an early bird, you may have to come back later in the day to do this part after you've seen other people have also done the work. I want you to read your classmates' responses and respond to at least one other student. Respond to something they've said, anything. Agree, disagree, and say why, okay? Or just say, hey, I like what you said because, or hey, I never thought about this, that, and the other, and I'm so glad you brought it up because now I la la la. All right, so basically I want you to try to have a conversation even though we're writing instead of talking. So here's what I wrote. I decided I will participate. What do I like about the book so far and why? This is kind of general about John Green and about this book, okay? I said that I love that John Green always delves into real world issues and shows how people struggle to be happy and healthy in a world that isn't always supportive. I love that he really isn't afraid to get his hands dirty with real things about real people, things that we sometimes don't want to talk about, things that sometimes society tells us we shouldn't talk about, mental illness being one of those things, okay? I enjoy his writing style, and I often laugh out loud when I read his books. I often cry when I read his books, too, but I didn't write that down. In this book, I really appreciate how he has tackled themes about mental illness and shows how it affects the people who have it. I also like how he uses figurative language, like when he discusses Aza's relationship with her mom in reference to music, and says that the two always seem to reverberate on the same string or musical note. It describes their connection to one another in a unique way, like they always catch each other's vibes. Vibration, vibes. I can't remember which string he said that it was. But he said there was a particular note on a particular string that Aza always felt as if she and her mom both, vibed on that string. So they were connected that way. I thought that was a cool analogy. Okay. So if I were to change anything, what would it be? And this is true for me in all John Green's books. This is my, one of my only criticism probably of him. Sometimes I wish Green's teenage characters weren't always so witty and precocious. Precocious means wise beyond their years. Okay? It's like every young person in John Green world is this super intelligent, insightful, introspective person who can use big words and be clever all the time. And that's just so not realistic. Not everybody is like this. So sometimes I wish that he would not make all of his characters so much the same way. I like the characters. I just don't think it's entirely realistic that all the characters are this smart and wise beyond their years. I'm not buying it. Okay? And then one of the essential questions I chose, how do my personal experiences shape the way I understand and interpret the story? So how am I connecting with it? I have people in my real life who have mental illness, as I'm sure all of you do too. So when I read books from the perspective of people who have a mental illness, it helps me to better understand where the real people in my life might be coming from. It helps me to empathize with them. So when I read about Aza's internal struggle, it helps me to connect instead of correct. When I am interacting with people who suffer from mental illnesses, instead of getting angry with them or trying to change them or correct what they're doing or try to fix them, instead of doing those things, which are pretty much the wrong things to do, I am better to try to connect with them, to see how they might be seeing the world, understand where they're coming from, and then it hopefully is improving my relationship with that person. So that is one of the ways that I think that literature really helps me in my real life, is that I can read about these fictional characters who suffer from these issues that are actually very real, and I can apply what I've learned from those characters to my actual life. Okay. Now, I don't have anybody to respond to right now, obviously. And if you want to respond to what I've said, that's fine. Okay. I'd rather you kind of talk with each other, but if you're an early bird and you get this done first and you're like, I'm just going to respond to Ms. Todd so that I can get it done, I won't fault you for it. Okay. I wouldn't mind seeing what you think about what I'm thinking. So this is what you're doing for today, chapters 14 through 17. Please read them and then just do the things and tell us how you like the book and what you're learning from it and how you're reacting to it. Have a great day.